Hello and welcome to the premiere edition of Este, Eres. This is you. I'm Jesus Hernandez. Today we discuss success. What does it take to be successful? What does it take for a sixth grader to even think about success? Our guest today is someone who understands that, who has been helping youngsters for 34 years to learn about how important success is. His name is Mario Bayne, founder and president of Career Concepts for Youth. Welcome, Mario.
Welcome. Glad to be here. Good to see you.
We're talking about Este, Eres tú, señor. Right. Tell us a little bit about sixth graders. You started an organization called Career Concepts for Youth 35 years ago, and you've reached thousands of youngsters. Mm-hmm. What's the message that you've been trying to implant in these youngsters so that they would succeed in life?
Well, the medical experts say that 0 to 3 is where kids learn their ethics, their morals, and their character. And if you can replenish it between 10 and 14 years old, they can grow up to be productive citizens. So I created a philosophy which was simply teaching young kids, sixth graders, 10 to 14-year-olds primarily, life skills, academic tools, and career exposure in disadvantaged and other areas for them to understand that the biggest battle that they will encounter as they grow to maturity is you versus you.
If you versus you is not successful, who is that person who has to help them understand the you versus you?
Well, it's a good point, because at the end of the day, mentors, motivational books, temporary motivation of self is good.
What about parents?
Parents are very influential, but in some cases, even parents can be a hindrance. So we decided to make our program viable directly to the individual student by having an expectations and helping them to create an expectations for themselves.
You know, you expect the youngsters to adhere to the principles of the program. There's some that don't make it. ¿Cómo te sientes when that youngster fails and doesn't succeed to move forward?
Well, I learned a very powerful lesson when I first started CCY. Not everyone is going to benefit from it. My job is to really attract and empower those that will benefit from it. And like in life, there are winners and there are losers. And it's a very simple formula to comprehend, because again, we do not know what's going on in the home element, which can be very destructive to the development of a young person.
Perhaps we should have a career concepts for parents?
Well, we should, but it's very difficult telling people how to be a parent because they don't want to listen.
Right.
So by taking the message directly to the youth, we're making them comprehend, which is very important, that they have the power to decide where they'll go in their future, regardless of circumstances, especially in the home.
So you're a parent, you're a grandfather. How did you implant that seed into your children?
Tough discipline. I've been always known as a disciplinarian, but I always remind them, as much as they thought I was disciplined with them, I was more disciplined with myself, because failure was not an option. I was born in Panama. By the age of 22, I lost both parents, my dad at 8, my mother at 18. My lifelong dream to play professional baseball brought me to Arizona State University. And
Ya mero lo hacías, eh?
2 knee surgeries, failed tryout, and it all ended at 21 and a half years old. I was very despondent, very angry at the world, had a want list to blame thousands of people, but at the end of the day, I realized that I could either deal with it and conquer it, or make it a negative. It could be an asset or a liability, and I chose an asset. And that journey brought me through almost 18 years in sales and marketing with 3 different major hotels, and empowered me to start CCY.
You gave up corporate America?
I certainly did. I had a calling, in my opinion, that said that your life experience shaped you and you had an obligation to come back and make a difference to others. A lot of people laughed at me, especially my family. But again, the battle is always you versus you. And I made a decision that I was going to make an impact. And to date, we've serviced 66,000 kids in 34 years. And very humble about it. took a lot of discipline and work and a philosophy that wouldn't be compromised, and then recruiting people to assist in that philosophy of making a difference.
As a nonprofit, it's difficult to raise money. What has been your message to those sponsors when you go knock on their door?
They can either make a difference now or pay for it later, because these individuals are going to be their next potential employees or consumers of their products. So it behooves them to make an investment at an early age in seed their development. We have a tracking system that empowers kids to start looking at career opportunities, and we've had some actually work for some of our corporate sponsors. So the recruiting and the soliciting of funds, I have a different mindset than most, coming from a corporate background. I don't treat it as a nonprofit. I treat it as a business.
Business, right. And it is business.
And it is a business.
For 35 years already.
Absolutely.
35 years. Recently you were recognized for the work that you've done by the West Valley Foundation. Tell us a little bit about that recognition.
I was really honored and blessed to receive the Cesar Chavez Recognition Award for 2025.
Si se puede.
Si se puede.
Okay.
And it was a culmination of 34 years of work, but it was an honor for me because I understood what Cesar Chavez went through. And I understood that everyone wants sunshines in their lives, but there's clouds. In essence, sunshine needs clouds to shine. And it really impacted me in a manner that obviously I was doing some good things to make a difference in our community. And to be at that event was a strong culmination of my achievements. And I was very blessed and honored and humble to receive the award.
Yeah, the event was the Cesar Chavez Celebration of Education, Diversity, and Scholarship Awards dinner.
Yeah.
They have it every year. And yeah, you were honored for the Si se puede Recognition Award. Now, Si se puede is a term that has been used many years to empower people, to motivate them. What would be the phrase that you would like to use for your children who have been to your school?
Si se puede, si quieres.
Okay, okay. Si quieres. What does that mean, si quieres?
Yes, you can, if you want to.
You have to want to.
You have to want to.
Well,
all the inspiration and motivation and empowerment is meaningless if you do not want to do it. And so you have to come to a comprehensible understanding that I want to be successful in my life, and I'm willing to put in the work to go through. We have a formula that's called belief plus faith times work equals success.
what is your impression of what's happening in our educational system? You deal with sixth graders, but there's a bigger system that's out there. What's your thoughts about that?
I have a lot of thoughts on the educational system. It's a very unfair system in a lot of cases. The home element, to me, is the key component to a successful journey through the educational system. The educational system is not for everyone. I remember the days of people being a hairdresser and owning their own salon, or electrician, or refrigeration specialist. And the emphasis that everyone has to go to college and get a degree is still viable, but it's not for everyone. And so we have to look at the education not only in a textbook, but in a life skills and in a life reality. And that is still the basis of working hard, setting a goal, understanding the value of productivity, minimizing your excuses, and maximizing your efforts. And we deal with young people at an age where there's consequences. You're allowed 2 instances to misbehave in the program, and then you're tossed out. And I often refer back to my corporate life when I had to terminate someone, and they would say, oh, you know, it's my family and this, and I go, I'm not terminating you, you're terminating yourself. Because if you did your job, we wouldn't have this discussion. So it's very important that we use the educational ability as a vessel, but we still have to empower these young people to create a level of expectations for themselves where they own it, they pursue it, and they want to achieve it.
You know, there are people out there that have dreams like you to start an organization, to try to help these youngsters. What would you say to those individuals who are contemplating beginning a nonprofit or a business? What would you recommend or advise them to do?
I would tell them, number one, to be absolutely sure that they want to do it. Number two, don't listen to anybody. Number three, find people who will believe in your philosophy of what you're trying to achieve. We take things sometimes and complicate it by asking others for their opinions. When I first started CCY, quite a few people says, you're crazy. Why would you leave corporate America? I had an opportunity to be director of marketing for a Fortune 500 beverage company at the time, and I turned them down. And so I learned very early on that if I keep listening to people, I will have a negative mindset. So just follow my vision, build my philosophy, recruit others, and go for it.
¿Qué sientes en el corazón, Mario, for your accomplishments? It's got to be something that touches your corazón.
Me siento contento,
Happy.
me siento fuerte. Yo sé que la habilidad para hacer eso no fui solamente yo. Fue un equipo,
Take a family.
con familia, gente. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. I've always been appreciative of my efforts because I knew what my vision was. I believe that if you have a strong vision and you're willing to manifest your vision, you can achieve it. There is no such thing as failure once you decide. Así que sí se puede, si quieres.
Los sueños. You have to
sueños.
believe in your dream.
You have to.
And your
And
dream.
you have to understand also that believing is not sufficient.
Right.
You will have failure, you will have frustrations, you will have misery, but those are all parts of the tools to the path of success. The green road is not always green. Sometimes there's bushes and debris and you have to shove them aside.
I can understand that about dreams because when I had my first dream about becoming a broadcaster, the world told me you can't.
Right.
The world told me you shouldn't.
Right.
But I continued to push forward,
Right.
and no matter what.
Right.
So los niños que hacen graduate through your program, give me some examples of what they've done after they graduate from our program.
We have some of them who've gotten their degree in psychology. I have a particular student who never met his dad and his mom was murdered. And he went through the program, got his undergraduate from NAU, and he was selected to the University of California, San Francisco medical program, which was 70 attendees. And he now has his master's degree in nursing working at Stanford Medical Center. Again, examples that if you just understand the formula of you versus you, that you can achieve it. And he has come back and shared his story with kids. He's a member of our advisory committee, and he's living proof. I've always said if I can touch one child's space, I've done good, and we've done more than just one.
You're not only the president and founder of the CCY, Career Concept for Youth, but also an author. You've written 4 books.
Yes.
And each one of the books has what message?
The message of self-love. Through all 4 books, they're all about loving yourself, respecting yourself, being careful of the things you say to yourself when you're alone. Mindset, a journey is my story. Having circumstances that led to adversity. And I lost my dad at 8 of a massive heart attack. And we moved to New York City from Panama. And my senior year in high school, my mom dies of cancer. And I took a scholarship to Arizona State, and 4 months blew my knee out. 2 surgeries later, we won the national championship without me. And I failed to try out with San Diego. And it was a devastating time in my life, a lot of trauma. And one of those things that you learn as you go through trauma is that at the end of the day, you have to resolve it. And that became a foundation for me to make a commitment that I would make as much a difference I can to help other kids who would possibly encounter those types of situations.
Well, Mario Bayne, president and founder of Career Concepts for Youth, gracias for joining us on Este, Eres tú.
Un placer.
Appreciate your success. Love what you're doing with the youngsters, and we hope you continue to do this for the youngsters. How much longer, we don't know, but we need to continue to do that. Muchas gracias.
Gracias,
Okay?
hermano.
We'll be right back with more on Este, Eres tú.